This is the brand new New Balance Rebel V5, which could be the most comfortable shoe you can buy. But to do that, they would have to beat the current #1 spot with the Adidas Evo SL, and they'd also have to beat New Balance's current most comfortable, the More V5. So let's find out if these new shoes really have what it takes. So, they come in a standard New Balance running box, all over red. Mine kind of looks like the UPS guy was having a little bit of a rough day. Nothing really special here, but yeah. You can also find this pair of shoes in a bunch of different colorways. Not all of them are available today, but they're all upcoming and you can check them out on New Balance's website. Some really cool, more neutral options, or this launch one, which I actually do really like. As far as like the fluorescent colors that they usually put on running shoes, this is definitely one of my more, favorites in that realm. Now, retail on these surprised me quite a bit. It's $140, which is $10 less than the Evo SL. These were already pretty reasonably priced for shoes in this category, so if these are better, that's a compelling shoe. Interestingly, it's also the exact same price as the previous version, the Rebel V4. I definitely expected them to bump that price up, even just by $10, but they've kept it the same, which is definitely impressive, especially considering tariffs and everything that's going on right now. Now, speaking of the previous version, the Rebel V4, these do have quite a lot of upgrades from that last version. So first off, the design. I would say it's a decent upgrade, although it does keep it pretty similar. Like, looking at the two shoes side by side, you could definitely tell that this is in the Rebel lineup. So not a complete redesign, but I will say these do look more like an everyday type trainer rather than the V4s, which did look a little bit, pacier, a little bit more aggressive. These also come with a thicker midsole. So this has more of that super soft and cushioned fuel cell cushioning. Now, it doesn't just have more than the previous version, but it's also organized a little bit differently. It's distributed throughout the shoe differently, which actually makes a pretty big difference. So the Rebel V4s had a lot of that cushion shifted towards the forefoot, so you could kind of feel that when you're walking around. That was great for actual running when you land on your forefoot, but for just everyday walking around, it did feel a little bit strange. This one definitely dials that back a little bit more. You have more heel cushioning, which overall I quite like. It just makes for a more natural experience walking around. Now, the DNA of this pair of shoes from the Rebel V4s is still the same, making it a very lightweight pair of shoes. So they keep that exact same very thin mesh material, which is kind of translucent. Like, you can definitely see inside. Like, even if I poke my hand in there, you can kind of see my fingers moving around. A little bit more difficult on this colorway, but you can see through it. This very thin mesh upper is something that's very comparable to the Evo SL. It's almost exactly the same. However, I will say in terms of weight and lightness, the Evo SL is slightly lighter at 221 grams versus these being 226 for the exact same size. I mean, you're barely gonna notice that. Now, also from the previous version, they've upgraded the ankle area with a little bit more padding, which feels pretty nice. They've also made the heel portion a little bit taller, which actually makes a difference slipping these things on. It feels a little bit better. But my favorite upgrade on these compared to the V4s has to be the tongue. So they've re-engineered it. They've also attached little breathable fabric elements on either side, so there's no more slipping around. The tongue is not going to slide off to the side or fold over and look awkward. I mean, the tongue always remains in that position, which is something that actually the Evo SL is a little bit of an issue with. This I always find to just fold off to the side or slip out of place, something like that, and it's a little bit frustrating. Now, in terms of sizing, if you had the Rebel V4, these fit exactly the same, which for me personally was true to size. They fit pretty well, so that's what I'm going to recommend to anybody interested in this sneaker. So how do these stack up to a lot of the other renowned New Balance shoes in terms of comfort? Well, the first comparison I think a lot of people are going to want to know is the 1080 lineup. That is supposed to be New Balance's kind of go-to when it's like an everyday, super comfortable shoe. In my opinion, just to put it bluntly, these blow those out of the water. They're softer underfoot. They feel a little bit better. Obviously, these are lighter, a little bit more agile. You get that feeling of like you're almost wearing nothing walking around. So if I had to pick between the 1080s and these, I'm taking these. Next comparison would be the More V5, which is a little bit less straightforward. Like, it's a little bit more of a subjective comparison. Both of these are very different shoes. The More V5 is a thick boy, to say the least. It's got a huge stack of cushioning, which is kind of what it's known for. So it really just depends what you're looking for. If you want that max cushion, super thick midsole type feel, the More V5 is definitely going to be the way to go. But if you really like shoes that feel super light, easy to slip on and walk around and just you kind of forget that they're on your feet, then these would probably be the way to go. Overall comfort is really not that different between the two options, but for me personally, I'd still take these. I'm just a really big fan of how light they are. But the real question here is, are these the new most comfortable shoe? Do they knock the Evo SLs off of that top spot? Well, I would say these are definitely the closest comparisons. They are very, very similar shoes. They're clearly competitors. You know, a lot of what I really liked about the Evo SLs was that combination of something that is super lightweight, extremely breathable, a nice soft midsole that again is just something you can slip on and almost forget you're wearing shoes. And ultimately, these New Balances kind of check all of those boxes. In fact, you know what? The midsole on the New Balance Rebel V5 is significantly softer than the Evo SLs. And that's something that really surprised me when I first put these things on, was just how soft and squishy this midsole is. Now, it may not be as responsive in comparison to the Evo SLs, which for runners is definitely something you want to take into consideration. These do come with that kind of bouncy feel, which is something you do want when you're running. But yeah, in terms of comfort, what New Balance has done here is seriously impressive. I think overall, the Rebel V5 and the Evo SL are more similar than they are different. If I absolutely had to give you an answer, I would probably say if I was blindfolded and I had never tried either of these shoes on and I was walking on a treadmill, I may just pick these in terms of comfort. Just feeling that squishy midsole with the lightness would probably win me over. And even though I've been testing both of these shoes, so I can't give you that unbiased answer, we may be able to organize a little test like that. Right, we are back again with another blindfolded shoe test. As per usual, like we did in the last video, you're going to be blindfolded. You're going to wear the Evo SL on one foot. I'm saying that because you own that pair of shoes. Disclaimer, he knows what that feels like, but he's never tried the Rebel V5s. He doesn't know what they feel like or anything, so I'm not even going to let you see them. You've never seen this pair of shoes. You're just going to put that on. I'm going to put them on your feet. You're going to walk and you're going to tell me strictly based off of comfort, which one is more comfortable. Right, so I'm just loose lacing them.
You know what? I thought that immediately I'd be able to tell which one is which, but now it's got me second guessing.
So just get a good feel, right? Don't give me an answer, because I also want you to stand on the floor and just feel them out standing.
It's like they're playing different games. One is going for that like tough, responsive feel that really tracks your movement. The other one is like, come on, chill a little bit.
Now just feel them out on the tiles and see what you think.
And this is purely comfort.
Purely comfort.
This is a very difficult decision, but I'm going left foot.
Okay.
And I know which one it is.
Okay.
I know which one it is. But do you want to know the reason?
Yeah.
The reason is the one on the right is a little bit too tough and the upper is not as comfortable. This feels like something I could walk around in all day. Everything's all sweet. I can do with this one as well, but it is just that little bit of extra toughness that comes into play when you're running. So I would take these if I'm running, but if I need an all day, bit of both, I think I'm choosing this one.
In summary, I pretty much had the same opinions as you.
But again, looks-wise, I'm taking these all day.
Exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But these also look good.
Damn. Well, there you have it. That is that. So in conclusion, if you are deciding between these two shoes and you are just strictly, you don't care how they look, you're just interested in comfort, the New Balance Rebel V5 might be the one for you. But just keep in mind, it is marginal. Either one of these will do a great job. I've been dailying the Evo SL for a long time now, since they originally launched, and I absolutely love these things. I wear them to the gym, walking around, running, traveling. They've held up very, very well. And all of those qualities really do exist in this pair of shoes. So if that sounds like something that you're looking for, then either of these is great options. The one thing I will say that is a little bit more subjective is I do prefer the look of the Evo SL. This is something that, again, I've been wearing casually, and I just really like how this design translates into a lot of casual outfits. So for me personally, I would choose these. But New Balance, you really killed it with these, especially given the price point. I'd love to know from you guys down in the comment section, what do you think of the Rebel V5? Have you tried it out? And which of these would you pick? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you want to catch another video, there'll be one right in that corner.